Welcome to Hunter Fuel, a supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz.
And I'm Lynn.
Thanks so much for joining us for season 1, episode 7, Hookman. We model responsible drunkenness here. All participants are way over 21. No one is pregnant. Thank you, God. No one will be driving, handling weapons, or operating heavy machinery. If you're playing along with us, those are the rules. If you decide not to follow them and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
Well, I decided since if no spoiler, but it seems like it's a little bit more of a bloody episode tonight, so I decided to go for a cranberry vodka.
Okay, we're going with a theme.
Yes.
So our cocktail this week is a Red Hook. It is 1/2 ounce of rye whiskey, excuse me, 1.5 ounces of rye whiskey, 1/2 ounce of dry vermouth, 1/2 ounce of maraschino liqueur. Shake that all over ice and serve. Let's see how this tastes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous about this one because I don't taste them before now. So we're gonna see how this goes. Uh, Wizard Dave, can you bring up our supernatural game cards for us, please? Let's see. Okay, so I'm not feeling terribly confident this week. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not either. So
This cocktail taste, I might not be too upset about that.
yeah, I mean I've probably got maybe I've maybe got 3 or 4, but definitely not in a row.
Yeah, I agree. So, well, on that note, the first one is on the house. So, cheers.
Whew, that tastes so yummy.
You know, it's not bad.
Like, that doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck. It's not my favorite, but I'm
Better
not
than
judging.
last
It's
week.
not bad. Oh, yes. Far better than last week. All right. Well, as always, if you're playing along with us, you can generate a card of your own. There's a link in the YouTube link tree. Let's get this show on the road.
Okay, so we have the
Mhm.
father telling the brother to get the kids out of the house. The mother's on the ceiling, and dad's now been on a hunting trip, and he has not been in contact for a couple of days. Sam's saying, I'm sure I was done hunting.
Mhm.
Jessica is now on the roof, and now the Sam is saying, "Ugh, I never thought I'd do this again." They are now on the road, and now we pick up with this week's episode, which is in East Iowa University. So we see the roommates together, and it's a little too Martha Stewart, she is saying, which is, of course, a take from the show Martha Stewart. And the roommate is showing her a shirt that is significantly sexier than the button up shirt she is currently wearing.
Yeah, she's a little bit, would you like a copy of the Watchtower this week? Although she's got this tiny little mini skirt on.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, okay, clearly they've done this for the camera,
yeah,
but yeah, this is a big change in her look.
yeah. This is huge for her. It's like kind of like, okay, I can't believe I'm wearing this facial expression on
Right.
her face. So then you see the roommate sitting there, and they are now by what looks like a rickety, not small bridge, but a rickety bridge, and they have pulled into very much a deserted area. And you very well know what the date has in mind, and it is not and it is not G-rated.
So I've paused this for a second. I love this shot here where, at first you can't see it, but like, Lynn, as you said, the car comes through and we've got this shot through the trees and you just see this hook come down into frame. A glint in the sun in the moonlight. I'm sorry. I think this is a great shot here. Okay, hitting play.
Yeah, yeah, you can see the hook just come down because for a second there, it almost looks like it's part of the leaves.
It's
So
just part of the tree. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
So,
so it's well, we couldn't be want to be at the party too early. They
oh
start
no.
kissing, and her cell phone goes off, and you see that it is her father, which you later find out this is not much of a spoiler, is a pastor. So, and
Mhm.
she says, I am definitely not answering that call. And they get back to what they were doing. And a second here, he tries to make a move she is not quite so comfortable with, and she asks him to stop. And he claims he's okay with it. And here you see the hook again, and you see the man who has the hook attached to him, and he is moving toward the car, and they start kissing again. And she once again tells him, no, I mean it, stop. And you hear the metal scratch across.
Oh, I do want to say that we can see this very heavy silver chain around her neck as he's trying to grope her. I
Now,
love
one
this
thing I do want
shot.
to note. Sorry, go ahead, Liz.
I love this shot here where you see the hook scratching across the sign and leaving this big gouge, and then the man with the hook disappears, but the gouge keeps going. I think that's a pretty cool effect that they have there. Go ahead.
So yeah, so and one thing you want to pay attention to in this shot is the name of the street, which is the 9 Mile Road, because that becomes very critical later on in the show.
Right.
And of course, typical, I hate to say B-rated horror movie move, but the guy jumps out. And again, here you have kind of the invisible man thing of the hook comes through, but you don't see him.
Yeah,
And
again, we've
he's
got that
freaking
gouge.
out and all and screaming his name, Rich, Rich, Rich. And
What was his name? I didn't catch it.
the the doors in the car lock. Like it's almost like the car is possessed, and the windows are going up, and she has no control over any of this.
Actually, I thought she was the one doing it. Like I thought that she was locking her like because she turned the key, she turned the car on. I
Yeah,
think
I
she
always got the impression she wasn't doing it, so maybe I'm
okay.
wrong in
I say I the way I
that.
interpreted this was that she was rolling the windows up to protect herself and she gets down
Now,
now.
now you hear the chain and all of that going
Mhm.
down, or what to me it does sound like a chain.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, what I find very strange here is it's like, oh, okay. And it's suddenly like everything is okie dokie, and she jumps out, and I'm like, okay, somehow I would not be this calm.
Well, I she's not calm. I think she's trying to keep herself calm
And
until
she screams as she sees her date hanging upside down, basically gutted.
right.
And of
And
course, now we see Sam at what is that? It is a payphone. We don't
it's
see
a
those very often.
payphone. It is a payphone. They used to have those back before cell phones.
So yeah, so now we have them getting lattes, and they are of course searching for their next case.
Well,
And
and
basically,
Dean is saying, Dad doesn't want to be found. So, I'm going to pause this a second quickly here. So this is something I think is interesting is I'm pointing at my screen like you can see me. Says we just saw Dean with a notebook that and it's now like shoved off to the side of the table and he's teased Sam about his vanilla latte. Uh, and so whether this notebook is Dean's hunter journal or if it's just like a scratch pad, I don't know, it's a little ambiguous, but I think if it's his hunter journal, I think that's kind of fun that like dad had a hunter journal and now, Dean is keeping one of his own. Um, or it could just be a notebook. All right, hitting play. So they're hunting
So,
for a case.
yep. So, so now
Okay.
they're describing the case in detail about the 9 Mile Road attack and how the attacker appeared to be invisible. And Sam is kind of doing the hmm. This kind of seems like something that would be right up our alley.
I've paused it because I want to get your opinion on this. So I'm going to back it up about 10 seconds. And so we see Dean with the coffee cup in his hand.
Yes.
And so he picks it up, he brings it up, he sets it back down. I, mm, are we calling that he drank from, is that a Dean eats or drinks?
Well, I mean, the
Or
fact that they have a latte,
no,
so
Sam has a latte. Dean is far too manly to drink lattes. As if that matters.
well, I mean, theoretically, I mean, because I think we're going to be kind of hunting. We're going to be kind of. I, I would say yes to that because I think we're going to be kind of. I think we're going to.
Right. So, okay. Well, and after all of that discussion, oh wait, no, I do. I do. I have a Dean eats or drinks. So, if we were going to be sticklers for the rules, this would not count because we don't actually see Dean drink it, but I oh well. All right. So, okay, hitting play again.
All right. So yeah, so they're saying the eyewitness's name has been withheld. The attacker was invisible, and Dean says this could be something that would be interesting. Sam's being a pessimist. It's like, and Dean's going, Dad would get involved, so of course they're
Here we
going to get
go.
involved. We see the Apollo driving toward Iowa, and they are heading toward this little college town.
And I'm going to interrupt you quickly because the song that you can't hear on Netflix is Bang Your Head by Quiet Riot. So there's a fun little banger here. What the hell is this guy doing with a banana? Like do you eat while you're working on your car, let alone eating a banana? Like that's come on, dude. That's just weird. Um
Now,
like
minusing him, this reminds me of a scene out of the 1950s. I mean, does that not look like a Letterman's jacket on first glance?
I think it's probably I don't know if it's a Letterman jacket, but I mean they're at a little college town.
Eh,
It's a fraternity, this guy's painting himself purple. Um, so it might be a letter jacket.
I seriously doubt it is. It just reminded me of one. It looked like it reminded me of a 1950s scene when I first watched it. I was like, okay. So they walk into their dorm room and they come across a guy who is painting himself purple, clearly for some kind of football game. So clearly the color of the school is purple.
It clearly. Now I have paused it because the magazine that Dean is holding here is a backside. So it is This is a skin mag, so I am calling this a porn reference. Let's see
Okay.
if either one of us have porn on our.
And of course, the one time we get it, I don't.
Well, yeah, and I'm double checking here, and I oh, Dean talks about porn. I'm I'm calling that. I'm gonna not so bad. All you have to do is break all of the rules, and it's just fine. Cheers. Well, let's see what the problem is here. I do wanna, just a tiny bit of trivia before I hit play again. Um, so the boys have mentioned, or I should say, J squared have mentioned at more than one convention that at least in the early seasons, the art department was using real pornography magazines that they were just like putting a fake cover. So I can't guarantee that this is an actual skin mag, but it probably is. that that Dean is flipping through here, and they just put the backside cover on it, which is it's one of those like fake brands
Yes.
that the show uses. So we're going to see backside again later in this series.
So,
The
and actually, I have another interesting bit of trivia here.
Okay.
So, this episode was actually originally supposed to air right after Wendigo, but Eric Kripke decided it wasn't scary enough and told them to spend more time with it, and they would just put it down farther on the schedule so that they could freak us out more.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And it's so the writer of this episode is John Scheiben, who also wrote Skin, which we saw last episode, last week. So it's just because of the time it takes, you almost never see that where a writer will write two episodes in a row. It's just because, like you said, it aired earlier. The director, David Jackson, this
Yes.
is this is the only episode of Supernatural he ever directs. And that's what you just said is exactly why. And in the official companion volume for the season, um, John Scheiben, the writer, he's also co-executive producer. He didn't have anything bad to say about the guy. He's like, I think that he got good performances out of everyone. Just he didn't have any experience directing horror. And it shows, so they needed to give him a lot of help to make the episode scary. And personally, for some reasons that are going to become obvious later in the episode, I think it's actually really good that they moved it. I think it makes a lot more sense
Yes.
where it landed. So I think it was a happy accident that it got here. Um, all right.
All right.
We
Hitting.
ready?
Yep.
All right. It's moving along. We've got Dean with his nudie mag.
So, and they're saying, well, we heard one of the guys got killed last week, and he's like, yeah, and so Sam was like, what happened? And the guy's like, yeah, some drifter came through town, and Rich was a really good guy, and he wasn't just with anyone; he was with Lori Sorensen. And Dean's like, "Where's Lori? Who's Lori Sorensen?" And he's explaining a freshman, a local, and extremely hot, and she's also the Reverend's daughter.
Yeah, like I don't know what it is about the Reverend's daughter that makes her extra hot. I guess they figure she's unattainable,
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly. That's
Um,
exactly why.
Now this is okay, this is a comment for two people. But what I think is kind of interesting here is again, seminary degree come doesn't come in handy that often. The pastor is wearing green, which is the appropriate liturgical color for the time of year that this episode aired, which again isn't going to matter to more than like one other person besides me. But the reason I bring it up is because when we see Lori, she's also wearing green, which even for a pastor's kid is kind of extreme then that she would be wearing the appropriate liturgical color to church. So I think is it on purpose? Like, did the wardrobe know the church calendar and say we got to put her in green too?
I
I
I
no,
doubt it.
and I highly doubt it. But it's one of those things that, like, I think it says something interesting about her character that maybe she's kind of embraced the teachings a little bit more than maybe your average, even
Oh, yeah.
Catholic
Oh,
kid.
oh, 100%, and I
Yeah,
think that shows later on in the
yeah,
episode.
I
It's
agree.
1,000% now. One thing I also like to point out is, do we recognize the pastor?
I didn't, but I think I know why you do.
Well, actually, I had to look at this. I had to look it up, but the pastor is actually he is one of two people who is in both Silence of the Lamb movies. So yeah, and he was also Bulldog in Frasier, in Frasier, which I will add I did not watch.
But it was again one of those things where like a lot of these character actors, they're in a lot of shows for like one episode, but he was like legitimately in Frasier for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But he as well, he and Frankie Faison, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, were the only two actors to appear in both films of both Manhunter and Silence of the Lambs.
okay, so we've got a repeat offender.
Yeah.
Um, so I had paused it. I'm gonna hit play here again, but we just saw Lori give Sam a good long hard look.
Yes, yes,
So
we did.
Lori
Lori has
is
noticed.
liking what she sees with Mr. Sam, and who can blame her?
Mhm. I love this how Sam like nudges Dean like put your head down.
Yeah, like, dude, we're in church. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think he's getting a little bit of revenge because Sam let the door slam and Dean gave him a hairy eyeball, so now it's his chance to give his brother a bit of a hairy eyeball. The other thing I want to point out here is the what Taylor is saying to Lori here about like, oh, sorry, you just lost somebody you cared about, but it's okay to have fun once in a while. This is almost identical to what Dean said to Sam
Yes.
in Dead in the Water about like, okay, yeah, I know your girlfriend's dead, but it's okay to have fun once in a while. So I think there's some interesting parallels between Taylor and Dean and between Sam and Lori in this episode.
Yes. So yeah, so this is Lori introducing Sam and Dean to her father and
Right.
just explaining who they are, and they of course are trying to pass themselves off as actually having really listened to the sermon, and Dean takes the pastor aside,
Right.
leaving Sam alone with Lori and trying to get her to talk about the case and exactly what happened. And her saying, well, they're blaming me and that I must have been seeing things because I was so scared. And Sam saying, that doesn't mean it's not real. Like, what what did you actually see?
Mhm.
And so now they're in a library, and Sam is explaining to Dean like what exactly she saw, which was the body being upside down, and they're realizing that it's all the trademarks of the Hookman. The
I
scratches.
do think I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I say I do think it's kind of fun going back a bit is that here's the pastor's daughter talking to these two hot guys and the pastor's on her like white on rice like the second she starts talking to them. Now here comes the librarian. Lynn, I assume you recognize this librarian. And I'm going to pause it because Dean just checked out her ass as she was walking away. So we'll check our bingo cards in a second, but I assume you recognize this actress.
Honestly, she wasn't on screen long enough for me to recognize her.
It is, let me back it up like 10 seconds and see if you can get a good look at her here because
Because now I'm really curious to see if I
she's, yeah, it's, all right, we're just gonna have to play it from here. I'm gonna try to pause this when you get a good, yeah, because mostly you see her backside in the screen. There she
Oh,
is.
wait a minute. Oh, I do.
She was in one of your favorite shows that I tease you mercilessly for.
Oh, One Calls the Heart.
That is it. That is
Yes,
it. You got it.
yes. I'm like, wait a minute. I know that. I know that profile.
Yeah, there's, I believe she pronounces her name Hella Horstal. She was in Hell on Wheels, Tears of My Bleeding Heart, and The Man in the High Castle, and Star Trek Discovery. Let's check our bingo cards and see if we have Dean checking out or hitting on a.
Uh, uh,
No, no, I don't either. But all right, well, hopefully other folks are having better luck. Well, yeah, we might. I was about to say we might have to start cheating soon, but let's be honest, I've been cheating this whole time.
I just say, this is what I do. These screw it. I'm thirsty.
I'm thirsty.
So yeah,
Well, go
and
ahead.
as they brush all the dust off all these files and pop these babies open because they're basically in like a banker's box, and they are exhaustingly going through all these files back to 1862, and they come across a preacher's name called Jacob. I believe it's Jacob Kern,
Carnes.
who killed multiple people upside down with veggies, and he has a hook. So they are, and it, so he lost his hand in an accident, and it was replaced by a hook.
Hmm.
And it's a 9 mile road, which is where the murder, which is where things happen. Now, I also want to back this up because if you notice, hold on, I want to pause this just for a second. Because they happen to make a reference here to nice job, and I'm gonna destroy this one. Nice
Dr. Venkman.
job, Dr. Venkman.
Dr. Venkman
Yes, and this is a reference to Bill Murray's character in Ghostbusters.
in Ghostbuster. There are a lot of Ghostbuster references in Supernatural. Yeah, that, and you're correct. That's one of them.
So yeah, there are a lot of quotes going to different references in this particular episode. I discovered
Yeah.
like more than normal. I feel like.
That's John Scheiben. He does quite a bit of stuff like that.
So yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. So now she is back at her house, back at her sorority house, and she's talking to her father that since her mom died, her father has been particularly overbearing and worrisome. And she's saying, I live with 22 other girls. I am over 18, and he is not liking the fact that, of course, he believes that all they do is party and all of that. And she's saying, Dad, I'm leaving. And he is not liking that. She storms out of the car and is heading upstairs. So now you see her in her sorority house. She is heading up the staircase. It's quite dark.
That's the
And
thing that I think is hilarious is he's like, "I know what goes on in there, all the drinking and the partying." Oh, we've got a big scratch on the door here. But yeah, people are studying, her roommate's already in bed, like he's freaking out about, "I know what those sorority girls get up to." And then we see what it's actually like, and
they're not doing any of that.
they're not doing squat at the moment. You
No.
know, like she's even trying to wake her roommate up, like, oh, I wanted to party a little and everybody's studying and going to sleep.
So, yeah, so now you also see they are headed down 1 9 mile road. Now, interestingly enough, this is the one time the Impala's headlight is a spotlight is actually used. Yeah, and this is the one and only time they actually use them, which I think is hilarious.
I know. Well, we're going to talk about this more too, but things started to disappear off the Impala because Jared and Jensen would horse around with them. So they slowly took everything away that they could use to annoy the crew. So, um you know what? I have on my notes that we missed a get this somewhere. I didn't catch it. So when next time we pause, we'll check our bingo cards and see if either one of us have a get this.
So they're getting their weapons out. They're in the dark, and it's an
Yep.
I told you, you you don't have to graduate from college to be a genius. They hear a rustling.
Because, well, we've got rock salt rounds. So this is the very first appearance of rock salt rounds. That are so salt is an evil deterrent.
So
Um,
we see something coming through the trees, and it's put the guns down, and you see that it's actually like a sheriff or a policeman. Get on your knees, get down on your bellies. He had the gun, and now you see we're back to Lori's sorority house, and she has shut the lights off. And in a second, we will realize that Hookman is actually in her bedroom.
yeah, creepy enough. Now I've paused it because okay, the boys are under arrest, and
Yes,
we had a get this.
yes.
So let's check our bingo cards here.
Definitely have one of the boys gets arrested.
We don't have. Oh, I have one of the boys gets arrested as well.
Um,
I have three in a row all of a sudden. I didn't think I was going to do that well. All right. Well, cheers.
aw, alcohol abuse.
Alcohol abuse. Wait, I can.
Yeah, as I'm dripping on my table.
Oh, yelling at me for alcohol abuse.
Well, I'm doing it too. Doesn't make it any better. All right. So, hold on, gotta get. Where's my cursor?
Where did you
I
leave
just
it?
losing stuff.
Where did you leave it?
Apparently at the bottom of the screen, but for a brief moment there, I couldn't find it. Okay,
So,
so she comes in. Now we see that she is very much alive in this scene. At this moment,
hmm
she's crawling into bed. It's clear that Lori wants to talk to her roommate in that moment, and you see the camera pan over, and it's very clear that the hook man is in Lori's closet.
and again, we get this, like we just sort of hear that breathing rattle.
Yeah,
I love this scene so much. The way this is filmed, I think it's really brilliant.
yeah,
The way it starts with the dripping, and she's trying to figure out where the dripping noise is coming from, and the camera pans up along the blood from the sheets.
Yeah.
I think this is really filmed really well.
Yep. Oh, the eyes. Oh, the eyes
The
are
eyes are gross.
the eyes are
Eyes
gross.
are gross.
And this is the whole reason I am drinking a red cocktail tonight. Is that scene?
Got a lot of blood, and then we got the, aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light? Um, they've mushed a couple of urban
Oh,
legends
and we
together.
have a dude.
We have a dude. Let's pause it. So the boys have
We
gotten
have a dude.
have a dude.
Dude. I was waiting for that.
Not in a place that does me a terrible lot of good, but
More on the board. I'm not complaining.
cheers. Okay. And all right. So they're walking out of the police
Police station,
station.
and of course, Dean is very proud of himself. He got the charges knocked down for him, and it's like, yeah, he believed you. You look like a dumbass pledge. And now you see all of the cops running out, and it's Sam. Like, what's going on? And you hear the tires screeching, the sirens going, and they're like, what the hell? And now you see again Lori sitting in an ambulance
Mhm.
and looking very shell shocked. And now
Uh,
you see the Impala, and she catches sight of Sam, and she's
mhm.
just looking at him like, what the hell?
I think this actor's doing a really good job here. Like you said, you really see this like 1,000-yard stare from her.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think she delivers a great performance in this episode.
And you see the pastor here saying,
Mhm.
I'm taking her home, and the sheriff saying, you can't, she's involved now in 2 murders. And the pastor saying, either arrest her or I'm taking her home. And they just say, just make sure she is available for questioning.
They
And
parked this car right in front of a fire hydrant. Like,
you are
come
too
on.
quick for me, because that was going to be my next statement.
Come on,
You parked
Dean.
it in a dumber spot.
Could you?
So you see the guys go through the bushes, go around the side of the house. And why would the Hookman come here? It's a long way from 9 Mile Road. Well, maybe it's not the road, it's maybe someone attached to the road. And dude, sorority girls, maybe we'll see a naked pillow fight, which
I
of
know.
course a lot coming from, which is sort of a reference to National Lampoon's Animal House.
Right, which of course Dean is gonna think
Yeah,
sorority girls must equal Animal House. Like,
of course. But
what
then,
else could it
but
be?
then Sam is just like, oh, forget that. He very quickly jumps up to actually get some work done, and that's not the first thing that goes through Sam's mind as they
No.
both jump in through the window. And he did that much more discreetly than Dean did, in
He
my
did, but they both landed in a dog pile at the bottom because they're like, "Shh, you're too loud. No, shh, you're too loud." Like,
opinion.
they start squabbling like brothers. I think it's hilarious. Well,
Yeah, but somehow the sheriff doesn't hear them, which
not a
I
thing. We have a
find
hearing
hilarious.
impaired sheriff.
So, so they are in Lori's room, and they see the "Aren't you glad you didn't turn the lights on?" And they notice, they say it's classic Hookman, definitely a spirit. I haven't smelled oz, ooze, ozone like
Okay.
that in a while. Hey, come here. Do you notice the symbol? Doesn't that look familiar to you? Because they're seeing that symbol. that is on the wall, and it's the same symbol that was on the hook from Jacob Carnes. So they need to find the unmarked grave from his execution and salt and burn the bones. So, and Dean's like, great, just what I wanted to do.
Which would
And
have
now
been a
they,
perfect time for him to say awesome, but he doesn't. He says super, which makes me mad. But he does have a ticket under his windshield wiper, which
of
I'm sure
course,
he
because
will
he parked
dutifully
right in
pay.
front of a fire hydrant,
Hydrant.
dumbass.
I guarantee you he's going to pay that like the honest, law-abiding citizen that he is.
Of course.
Uh,
So,
awesome! Got an awesome.
yes, do we have an awesome?
Finally, let's see if either one of us have a. Dean says awesome. I have one. Ooh,
Oh, I have one. And you didn't think your card was good.
didn't. Now, I don't think I'm going to get 5. I don't believe I will
Well, cheers.
be. Yeah, cheers to you as well.
You usually do far better, far better than
You
you.
said doo doo.
I was trying really hard not to go there. I'm like, oh my god, I sound like a teenage boy
You
pointing
said
that
doo
out.
doo.
Oh my dear God.
Oh, I paused poor Dean making a very funny face. Okay, let's.
All right, I need to start making these shots a little smaller.
All right. Okay, he's not making a silly face anymore. But Dean is very much loving being at a college party with all the sorority girls.
Okay, so how did the Hookman know about Lori? He's been thinking about this, and the clerk, it's all back to the clergy. So, so, and they're looking at the pattern here of the the immorality, the clergy, and all that, and how the killings were carried out with the sharp instrument, and what's the connection to the clergy, and it's all the preachers that were against immorality, so they think it's the preacher trying to save the daughter.
Right.
So, so now they're wondering, is it so he thinks the hook man is feeding off the individual versus the place. So they think they need to keep an eye on Lori because because that's where the connection all is. And Dean is gonna go find the unmarked grave
And
and
we've got this
figure out.
adorable little pout from Dean when he realizes he can't stay with the pretty girls at the party. He's got to go to the graveyard. So I will say this bothers me a bit. Like he's okay, so he's walking around the graveyard, he's got his flashlight, and he finds a grave with the same symbol that they'd seen on the wall, that Jerusalem cross.
Yes,
That is not my definition of an unmarked grave. Like to me, unmarked means unmarked. That's a
yes.
marker. Just because it doesn't have his name doesn't make it unmarked.
Yeah, well, that and
Um,
it's like, okay, if it's an unmarked grave, there would be no tombstone.
bingo,
Yeah,
bingo. Like this is marked. It just doesn't have a name on it. So I was a little annoyed by that. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, and he goes, okay, here we go.
Yeah, because oh look, the unmarked grave has a marker. What a
Yeah,
coinky
this
dink.
this was way too freaking easy.
Yeah.
So then he's back at Lori's house. He sees that they are having an argument about something, and it turns out that, and we find out in a moment that the father is actually in a relationship with
No.
someone, which we figure out that that's what that conversation is about.
I love this Dean line here. Like, that's it. Next time I get to watch the cute girl's house. Like, because he's another one of these perfectly square 90-degree corner grave, dug up graves that the
That he
boys managed
managed
to
to do
dig.
remarkably quickly.
Yes, they are super fast at digging perfectly rectangular graves.
Yeah. And somehow, and then so now we're back at Lori's house. Lori has spotted Sam and is coming out, and she says, "I saw you from upstairs. What are you doing here?" And Sam just says, "I just came to keep an eye on the place."
I'm just
I,
stalking you.
yeah.
I'm here perfectly innocently, but it's okay that I'm stalking you because I'm super hot.
And yeah, she's just got this big goofy grin and and thinks it's so cute and thinks it's so sweet that that they that he did this, which it's like, oh dear lord. So then they get into this conversation about how she thinks she's cursed because people keep dying
Mhm.
around her, and Sam goes, yeah, I kind of know how you feel, because he kind of feels the same way. Now we're back
Oh.
at the grave again, and Dean has the salt and everything he needs. And is it me, or for a brief second there, does it not look like he's peeing into the grave?
It does. It does right here where he's pouring the lighter fluid on. It absolutely. I'm going to pause this. I think this is a beautiful shot with Dean where he's holding the lit matchbook. So yeah, you go from what appears to be Dean taking a whiz into an open grave to this really gorgeous shot with the matchbook, and
Yes.
the boys are burning a body. So let's take a
Yes.
look at our
And I'm 90
supernatural game cards here. I don't recall having one.
might. Hold on.
I don't think I'm going to get one. No, I do not.
Da, da, da,
Da, da, da, da, da.
da, da, da. Boo! God, I'm losing my marbles. Maybe I don't. I thought I did. Maybe I have something else that. No, I don't have. I don't have that they're burning a body. I thought I had one.
Must have been from last time. So, all right. Well, if you're playing along with us, hopefully you have one because we don't. So, back to this
I say I
beautiful
need
shot
someone to
here.
say seriously, because that I do have.
Seriously, I don't think I have it on my
All
cheat sheet.
right. Bones are the bones are on fire, which they think
The
that should
bones,
solve the
the
problem. No,
bones, the
Lori,
bones are on fire.
yeah,
We don't
Lori.
need no water. Let that motherfucker burn. Sorry.
So Lori is saying that no one will talk to her. The sheriff thinks she's a suspect.
Hmm.
And this is when she says that she just found out her father is seeing a married woman that
Hmm.
comes to the church. She sees the family. He talks about morality and all that, and 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 she is clearly not happy about this,
Oh.
that she's been taught that you do wrong and you will be punished, and she just doesn't know what to think anymore.
Well, and there's a deleted scene for this episode where she's doing laundry, and the way she finds out that her father is having an affair is she finds a condom in his pocket when she's doing laundry. But
Oh,
more importantly, she's we've got some smooching.
oh yes.
My God, his hands are enormous.
And
Like,
it's Lori, I can't. She pulls
no.
away, and you see it's about Jessica, and now the
Right.
father is coming out, and it's
Mhm.
Lori. come inside, please.
Love.
And she goes, I'll come inside when I'm ready. And now we see
Oh, that's a great shot. Oh, I love
and
that shot so much where the hook goes into the dad's shoulder and yanks him back into the house. It's just awesome.
yeah, and now we see Sam is running through the house. You hear
Mhm.
the father screaming, the door slam, and you see Sam going through. You see the hook is up, the father is on the floor, and Lori's now running up the stairs. Sam is Sam is standing there with the gun, and the father's still on the floor. Lori's over him, and Sam is just standing there.
Mhm.
And now you realize that Sam is now standing there trying to explain what happened, and you realize he's talking to the cop, saying, "Yeah, this guy with the hook just came out and
Mhm.
came out and attacked him."
So
And
we saw the first use of the rock salt rounds, and so we see them be effective. I love this little scene that's coming up here where Sam tells Dean, "Oh, Lori just found out that her father was having an affair with a married woman," and Dean goes, "So?" Okay, thank you, Dean. Thank you for respecting the sanctity of marriage.
so they're now saying, "You saw him, it's the hook man, damn right. Why didn't you torch the bones?" And he realizes that they did torch the bones, and Sam realizes he's latching on to Lori because she found out about the affair, and she's upset about the immorality of the whole thing, and believes that if you've done something wrong, you should be punished. So and so now they're trying to figure out how in the world. So the dad having the affair, and they're trying to just figure out the connection between everything. He's saying, I did burn the bones, but why didn't that stop everything?
Mhm.
And he's saying, I burned everything in that coffin. Did you get the hook? The hook has got to be the connection, because it's the murder weapon. It's still part of him.
Mhm. And this is the first time that we see this in the show where it's something other than the body that the spirit is attached to. And we've got a boys both talk at the same time. Let's take another look at our bingo cards here. Stupornatural, don't let me down.
I definitely don't have it.
It either. I think I am gonna top out at 4 here. Uh,
Still get a couple more, I think. Okay, so now they're back at the library looking at the logbook from the penitentiary, and it mentions all of the stuff from the execution and all that, and that everything went to St. Barnabas Church, which is where the father and Rory live. So, and we're realizing that there's the connection of that everything is connected. So they need to go and now check the donations from the St. Barnabas, from all of that, and they're realizing that the hook was melted down and made into something else.
mhm.
And they're like, oh crud. So now they're going back to the church to to figure out what possibly could this hook have been made out of. Which of course, so anything silver has to get burned. And they
Mhm.
both agree to this. Lori's still at the hospital, so they're going to have to break in. Such a surprise with these
I
two.
know. Tragically, they do not pick a lock that we see. which makes me very sad. But yeah, they split up. One goes to the church, the other goes to the parsonage, or where they live. They've gathered up everything silver, and I mean, this is literally thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff that they are building. Like this is solid silver.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
which
and they,
technically silver doesn't burn, but it melts, but it doesn't burn. So we're just
so,
gonna say that this works. So,
and they hear something. So
mhm.
they're suddenly now on the move. Their guns are out,
I
and
love this reaping with joy banner that they're standing next to. Like it makes perfect sense in a church. It's a passage of scripture, but for a show about a dude with a hook, like
yeah,
I think that's pretty funny.
yeah, the Reaper. That is funny. So now we see Lori, who is in absolute tears, and she's completely distraught. So she's trying to understand why all of this has been happening. So she's praying for forgiveness. So so she feels that she's the one to blame for all of this about the avenging angels, and he he's trying to explain to her this is no angel, that she was so angry with her father for and part of her wanted him punished, and Sam is trying to calm her down, but she doesn't understand how it's not her fault. Ta- and then she's talking about the roommate and the guy she was on the date with, and she
Oh,
says, I see it now. They didn't deserve to be punished. I do.
do. And
And now, of
we
course,
start to see this manifestation. We've got
yep.
these
Oh, and
shadows.
we have a candle flickering.
We do. We do. So yeah, I think that's all really cool. The way that like as she's talking and she's taking blame for all this, we start to see the Hookman manifesting.
Yep, yep. And now the hook man is starting to put his hook through every door in the, well, at least one door in the church, and is starting to go through. And now he's
Oh,
going
such a
through the
great shot.
glass doors, and he is fighting with Sam as he
This
is.
is this is such a great fight. I love this. He's just smashing everything in sight.
Yes. Oh, and he has got Sam. Sam
He
is
got
injured,
Sam.
and
Oh, they pull her down the hallway. That's cool.
yep, and he is still injured, but of course, he is, and he has gotten thrown into a bookshelf.
He
He
has
has got,
gotten thrown into a wall. Let's take a look at our game cards
and
here.
I'm fairly certain, yeah, I am fairly certain I have someone gets thrown into a wall. Uh,
Joke about Sam's height. No, I am SOL here.
uh, no, I have. Someone gets knocked out.
In general, to say no, just because we've seen we've
We've
seen
seen him get
Sam
conked on the head.
we've seen him get conked on the head with like a tire iron. Like Sam takes some serious blows to the head in the show. So I'm inclined to say no. However, we've had like 3 rounds where we haven't had anything.
I was gonna say, well, I'm getting tempted to say that the candles going out is an electronic flicker, which I
Are they
realize
electronic candles?
no, there was nothing electronic about those candles. Let's be honest
I
here.
know.
I'm des that this is just pure like I'd like to have more than 4 on the board.
Well, you're a grown ass woman.
Yeah,
uh,
but I try to play by the rules to a certain extent.
yeah, unless they're electronic candles, I'm
Yeah,
disinclined to include them.
exactly. And in a church, we know they're not electronic.
I okay, we're gonna hit play in a second here. I was in a church not that long ago where they had electric candles. Like they had little battery operated tea lights.
Oh,
So
good
you
grief.
so if you were gonna light a candle for somebody, you picked it up, you flipped the switch on the bottom, and you put it down. I'm like, walking away.
Yep,
This
walking
this is
away from
me
that
saying
one.
nothing. So, okay, so tragically, neither one of us have one of the boys gets thrown into a wall.
Nope.
Uh, but
So
the Hook Man
so
is
she
still
was
going after
falling
Lori.
backward, and tragically for me, he didn't get knocked out. So
He
it's
did not get, I know. Damn it, he regained consciousness, or he didn't lose consciousness. He didn't drop his weapon. Like, come on, man. Work with us here.
oh, and then he realizes, Lori, where did you get that necklace? Father gave it to me. It was a gift. It's a church heirloom. Is it silver? Yes. And
And
he
he
rips it
totally
off the
gropes her boobs when he grabs it away from her.
oh, and then
I
he
love this shot so much. This is so cool. With the hook dragging down the wall and the plaster exploding. Oh my goodness. I love it. It's such a great effect.
yep, and it yeah, and this is very much like Invisible Man slash Hook as he's going all the way down, and it's very much a rush to the end as to will the cross melt in time before, and of course
Oh, and
Hookman
Sam just dropped his weapon, which we'll come back to.
and the cross is starting to melt as the hook is starting to come up.
This reminds me of in the Fellowship of the Ring, where well,
Yep.
it's not Fellowship of the Ring, I'm sorry, where like you're waiting for the ring to melt in the fires of Mount Doom and it just won't melt. And so finally the cross melts. This is a pretty good effect with the little sparkles.
Yep.
Here comes Dean running to save his brother.
Yep.
Yay!
Yay!
All right, let's check. I'm pausing it. Let's check the cards and see if we have one of the boys drops his weapon. Let's see. I
Son of a bitch, or seriously.
I need some official or yeah, or I need a joke about Sam's hair and I am not going to get one. I think
Yes.
we will have to be content with 4. Okay, so I've hit play.
Yep. So yeah,
Dean is Go ahead.
they're all talking about how they fought off the man with the hook and that
Mhm.
that's it. And the sheriff is like, "Oh, for the love of God! Now you and your brother, yes, don't worry, we're leaving town. Don't worry, we're getting out of here." And now you see Sam, who's still slightly injured with the blood, but
He's got a boo-boo.
yeah, he's got a boo boo, but he's fine. And now you watch Dean watching his brother in the mirror,
This
like,
is a great shot though, with the two of them in the mirror.
yeah,
Um, and there's a little bit better one coming up. But yeah, she's making doe eyes at Sam,
yeah.
but
And
no.
then you see, I love how he bites his lip, like, ah, oh, come on, bro.
Come on. No.
Seriously.
Sam's not ready. And Dean looks in his wing mirror here and it's coming up. He's saying we could stay.
Okay.
And the
And he's
song
like,
that's
nope,
playing that you can't hear on Netflix is Peace of Mind by Boston. This is the one that I really love, where you see her in the mirror by herself and she's like, oh,
no.
like,
And now
no,
we see
Sam
the
is
Impala
leaving
driving away.
off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And that is our episode. So let's take a look at our Stupornatural game cards here. And yeah, that is the most that I have in a row is 4.
I got
With a and
I have 4.
I appear to have lost by the least yet again. So and yeah, this was not a terribly boozy episode.
Nope.
So cheers.
Cheers.
All right, tell me, what did you think of this one? One thing you loved, one thing you hated.
One thing I hated,
Okay, we're starting with the bad news.
yes, that scene, and I know I mentioned it when we watched it, is it annoyed me when, to me, like the girl, she played it too kind of cool for me. I mean, maybe she was trying to calm herself down, but to me, you hear a chain, and then she, like, and to me, it very much sounded like a chain going down right above your car. And then she immediately jumps out of the car.
Mhm.
Like, I'd be like, yeah, no, dude, not the very first thing I am going to do. So, like, she's just like, okay. Like, it just, to me, that whole little scene just bothered me.
Mhm. So I have a couple of thoughts, and so first of all, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I am yes anding you. So in agreement with what you're saying, a friend of mine is a security driver for I mean, he's done it for years. So for big corporations, he's for CEOs, he's a security driver. And one thing that he's always told me is, if as long as the car will move, keep stay in the car and keep the car moving. So it doesn't matter that you've got flat tires, drive on the rims.
Right.
Like for your safety, do not exit the vehicle, and as long as the car moves, keep moving in the car. So I completely agree with you. The one thing I will mention in addition to that is, and it's a comment you've made on a couple of episodes. And again, I don't disagree with you, but you've made a comment of it about it being kind of a cheesy B horror film move, and you're not wrong. It is. But something that occurred to me the other day, I was thinking about you when I was in the shower, and something that occurred to me the other day was that I I have never been a real fan of the horror genre. There are some horror films that I like, but the genre itself, I was thinking that I have the same challenge with horror films that I have with your chick flicks, that they tend to have a formula,
Yeah.
and as long as they stick to the formula, they don't feel compelled to make a good film. And then your response to me when I had said that is, yes, but I like the formula when it comes to chick flicks. And so it got me thinking that for horror films, for people who do like the horror genre, they're comforted by the formula the same way that you are by the formula for chick flicks. That, like, okay, I see this happening, this is my world, I know where I am, like this is part of the horror genre language. So I don't disagree with you, but at the same, I think that those things are intentional, that they're intentional nods to the horror genre that this series belongs to.
And it's funny though, because I must have been in a fix when I said that, because now now, like, I'll watch them for a bit and then I'm like, oh my god, this formula is driving me crazy. They need to break it up a bit.
It, you're You're allowed to change your mind.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, no, because it's like
yeah.
I'll get in my little chick flick fix moment, and then I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I've seen the exact same movie 10 times, just with a different title.
Because you have.
Yeah, it's like okay, need something new.
Indeed, indeed. Well, and for me, my thing is like car chase thrillers. Like
Yes.
they have a formula. And so, I'm not if anybody happens to be, a big fan of either or flan, if you're a fan of flan, either if you're a fan of either chick flicks or horror films, I got no hate for you. It's it's not my thing. My thing is like action films, and they have the formula of their own. Okay, so that's something you hated. Tell me something you loved.
I love, and I feel like it's coming in more and more and more in the last couple of episodes, and it's making me giggle more and more, is Dean's comedic timing.
Dean is
I
funny.
I love it. I like those little one-liners, and just even it doesn't even have to be a one-liner, just his little
Hmm.
just the little. My husband does it very well also,
Yes,
and
yes, he does.
it cracks me up.
So yeah, and it's something and I know we talked about it before, but it's the kind of thing that like there ends up being a real symbiotic relationship between the writers and the actors. That like once they realize the actors can do something, that what their strengths are, they start writing to it, and they definitely realized pretty quickly that Jensen does comedy really well, and so they start writing to it more. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. For me, and I know I mentioned it already, I love all the hook effects. I think they're really cool, and especially again that, and essentially they just did it by like plastering over a wire and then just like yanking the wire out and then going in post production with CGI and removing the wire. So I mean, it's a relatively simple effect, but man, it's so cool and it's absolutely terrifying the way that they do it. I love that so much. And again, the thing I hated is I know I mentioned it when it happened, but that unmarked grave, they just find it way too quickly, and I feel like they could have written that just a tiny bit differently. Like don't say it's unmarked, like
Unnamed.
unnamed, or just like, okay, I'll go to, if you need him to find the grave quickly, and clearly they do, don't say it's unmarked. Just say, okay, I'll go to the cemetery and burn the body.
Yeah.
Like I think they could have gotten around that much, much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So, in
Absolutely.
general, though, I really do. I think this is a great episode. It's good and scary. I think I know we talked about this already as well, but where it ended up in the lineup, I think makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does. It
So
absolutely does.
yeah, so I gold star to Supernatural for Hookman.
Hmm.
Oh, all right. Anything else you want to mention?
No, no, I think I pretty much threw all of my little tidbit references and trivia comments in there while they were happening.
Well, I am gonna have just a tiny wee sip more. Okay, so now it's last call. Thanks for coming along with us for the ride. If you like what we're doing here, please be sure to tell your friends, tell your family, stop strangers on the street, re- recommend our videos to them. Please also like our videos, give us a comment. We love hearing from our SPN family. Subscribe so that all of those things make it easier for other people to find our videos. Please also feel free to send us an email at hunterfuelpodcast@gmail.com. And our next episode, we will be watching season 1, episode 8. Lynn, your favorite. We will be watching Bugs.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to this at all.
And in Bugs, we will learn that Sam and Dean can make one improvised flamethrower last all night, as long as the night only lasts 5 minutes. Until then, be safe, everybody.